Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We have more science news because now, of course, we all believe and we have to believe in science and we have to follow the science and we follow the experts and whatever the FDA or CDC says is okay. You have to bow down and say, Amen, Amen, Amen. Hallelujah to the FDA. All that you say is true, and we submit, we believe, we will not defy, we are your servants. Well, anyways, boys and girls, just a couple of days ago, Monday, September 25th, 2023, on CNBC, the mouthpiece of the big pharma and the government. So, of course, when they say something like that, you might think, okay, well, I gotta better maybe think about it. Maybe it has to be so bad that they actually had to say something about it. Merck, Health and Science from the CNBC, Monday, September 25th. Merck, COVID drug linked to virus mutations that can spread between people. New study says, wow, isn't that special? Isn't that special? So, what is the main points of the story? Is it a new study said Merck's widely used because, of course, it's FDA approved, right? So it's safe and effective, right? Used antiviral COVID pill can cause mutations in the virus that occasionally spread to other people. Wow, give me some mutations, please. But there is no evidence that whatever is called molnupiravir. Let me try to pronounce it. Molnupiravir. Molnupiravir, sold under the brand name Lag- Lagevrio, whatever. Who cares? It's a poison and more poison. That's all it is. It's a money machine. Sell you poison for money. It's like drug dealers, basically, drug pushers. I mean, that's where the opioid epidemic happened with the biggest drug pushers, the biggest cartel on the universe, Big Pharma, has produced more transmissible or severe variants of COVID, according to the study. So, wow, this FDA approved drug, magic drug antiviral, actually caused more transmissible and more severe variants of COVID, according to the study. Wow, isn't that special? The findings may increase scrutiny about the usefulness of the treatment. And only the treatment, or how about the magic mRNA poison, magic thing which doesn't work at all because it's always aiming at an expired, an extinct variant. And they're only aiming for the spike protein and not the whole virus. So a bunch of crap with more bunch of crap. Some black tea now. That's nice and tasty. The findings may increase scrutiny about the usefulness of the treatment, which was one of the first COVID drugs available to doctors worldwide during the so called pandemic. You know what happened during the pandemic? The average age of people dying with the virus was actually older than life expectancy in virtually every province, every state, every country on the planet. So we have a pandemic where people die with the virus at an older age than life expectancy. Wow, this is like life ending catastrophe, isn't it? Um, so here, there's a picture of a worker holds a bottle of Merck and Company's Molnupiravir antiviral medication in a warehouse in South Shalom in Shaham, Israel on January 18th, 2022. Well, it's a very short article. I haven't actually read it, so I'm kind of reading it with you. A new study released Monday said Merck's widely used antiviral COVID pill can cause mutations in the virus that occasionally spread. And how occasionally is occasionally? Give us some numbers, please. To other people, raising questions about whether the drug has the potential to accelerate COVID's evolution. And actually, I was going to combine it with this video, but I decided not to because, the platform we're on might not be too happy with that. But I remember on my personal Facebook page, I was, of course, ranting and raving about this. This is basically grand theatrical production from the beginning, from day one, where, the average age of people dying in Italy was like 90 years old or 89 years old. Wow, shocker, shocker, you know. And anyways, there was an article, I believe it was from CNN or one of these mainstream, mouthpieces of the drug cartel. They actually, the doctor interviewed, they were talking about the whether vaccinations or inoculations or uh, whatever that you call them, uh, shots, would actually what the doctor was talking about, the potential for vaccines to actually cause YouTube. I'm not the one saying it. It was actually said by a doctor. Look, here it is. It says in this article that it could accelerate COVID evolution. And the same story was about the so-called vaccines, that they could actually spur COVID evolution and causing mutations to the virus. Why? Because it's not a vaccine. It's a leaky vaccine, as they say. And the virus decides, you know what? You're blocking me here. Well, I'm going to mutate and go there. That's why we had the Delta variant and the Alpha variant and the Gamma variant and the XBB and the boo 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 and the key and the 222. And that's why we had all these things. If they just left it alone, it would have just died out a long time ago, like COVID 1, like the original, the first one. But of course, that's, of course, a lab genetically modified thing. But in any case, we have nothing to fear of this because here's a good doctor to actually follow on YouTube regarding this topic and other medical topics. His name is Dr. John Campbell, Dr. John Campbell, and he himself took three shots of the magic vaccine, three of them. But now you watch his videos about excess deaths, about all kinds of new studies, about even the new so-called variant of this so-called COVID, um, that according to the British, especially he's British, so he has the UK data, and the symptoms are actually of a mild cold, not even the flu, cold. So of course now they want to inoculate you against a mild cold. Well, as I've always said, yeah, that's it's just a money grubbing scam. Molnupiravir works by causing mutations in COVID's genetic information, which weakens or destroys the virus and reduces the amount of COVID in the body. However, the study published Monday in the scientific journal Nature found that COVID can sometimes survive treatment with this drug, leading to mutated versions of the virus that have been found to spread to other patients. Wow, isn't that special? So the cure was worse than the disease, as they say. Oh, this is weak. Let's mutate it, and now it becomes stronger. But of course, in the grand scheme of things, the current so-called variant is like a mild cold, and the new uh, vaccines, the boosters, which came out now, are targeting an already basically extinct variant because they only target the spike protein, not the full virus. And the spike protein in the current uh, rendition of the virus is significantly very different from the XBB 1.5 or whatever it is they just did for um, these drug companies, which target a virtually extinct variant. So basically, it's like taking something for nothing. Anyways, but of course, it makes them a lot of money. So that's important, of course. It's important for the economy. It's important for science. Um, Researchers in the US and the UK specifically analyzed 15 million COVID genomes to see which mutations had occurred and found and when. They found that mutation increased in 2022 after this drug was introduced in many countries. So the drug to cure you is actually causing mutations in the countries which are taking that drug. That's why countries which are highly took a huge percentage of the population, took that stuff in their arms, have actually the biggest diseased populations on the planet. Countries which didn't, like a lot of, like, Africa and certain countries in the Middle East, like, life is as normal as can be. But anyways, stupid people are stupid people. What can I say? As I've said before, and I repeat again till the day I die, people are three things. That includes me too, so I'm not just excluding myself. But in general, I try to be aware of these things. Number one, people are stupid. People are lazy. People are sheep. So people are stupid because they'll believe anything. People are lazy. They're not willing to spend the time to actually invest some energy and researching something they hear on TV or hear an expert say. And people are sheep because, look, everybody's doing it. Everybody's taking it. It must be fine. So I'm going to just follow the crowd and just do it. All you idiots who are not following the crowd must be weirdos. You must be conspiracy theorists. You have been brainwashed when the brainwashed crowd, the sheep, are calling the independent thinkers brainwashed. Okay, well, we have, and a lot of them, unfortunately, have suffered the consequences of their choices. Um, anyways, so there is no evidence. So again, here now they try to tone it down, tone the study that just said that this thing creates more severe and more transmissible variants and goes from people to people when you're trying to cure it. And then there is no evidence that molnupiravir, sold under the brand name Lagevrio, has produced, keyword, more transmissible or more severe variants of COVID, according to the study, because COVID is already very transmissible. So it didn't create a more transmissible. Well, okay, well, it's still very transmissible, so big deal. Or more severe. Well, are we sure? Well, I don't know which versions they're talking about. They're talking about 2022. But currently, the severity of the current magic variant is, watch Dr. John Campbell, is like a mild cold. I have a whole bunch of relatives, nephews, nieces, they all suddenly magically, like last 2-3 weeks ago, suddenly everybody's getting a cold. They're getting runny noses, a bit of a sore throat. So the cold, and I'm betting it was the latest form of the COVID variant, which is basically like a mild cold. And then it's gone. End of story. But the findings are important for regulators who regulate things by money. There was a TV show, a mini series on Amazon Prime, I believe. It was with Billy Bob Thornton, I believe, the actor. It was recent, and he had, I think, 3 seasons. I can't remember the name of the show at the moment. You guys, if you remember, you can put it down in the comments. And I think season 3, he's a lawyer and so forth. And season 3, it deals with Big Pharma and the FDA and how basically Big Pharma just dictates and tells the FDA what to approve and what to approve it, because 75%, you can look it up, 75% of the financing for drug testing of the FDA is paid for by the manufacturers of the drug. So what do you expect the results of science will be? What do you think the results of the regulators will be? And of course, after they're done their stint at the FDA or the CDC, magically all these guys get jobs at Big Pharma. Yeah, no conflict of interest here. It's all fair. It's all science. It's all impartial. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But the findings are important for regulators who continue to assess the risks and benefit of molnupiravir, wrote Theo Sanderson, the lead author of the study and a researcher at the Francis Crick Institute in London, in a post on X, formerly Twitter. A spokesman for Merck pushed back on the study, of course, because now money will dry up from this drug, which is useless and actually creates more variants. So, so why? Of course, they push against it, uh, claiming that the research assumed that the mutations they analyzed were associated with whatever molnupiravir treatment patient without documented evidence of that transmission. Yeah, well, what else is he going to say? What else is he going to say? Well, show us any proof of that your little drug actually worked in the first place. Real proof, not the latest version of the booster for the latest so-called already extinct variant. The already extinct variant. It was tested on, was it 8 mice or 10 mice or something? That's the science. That's it. The science. We tested it on 10 mice, so it's of course safe and effective. Of course, safe and effective against fighting for 2 months against an extinct variant of the disease. All right, very, very scientific here. Instead, the authors rely on circumstantial associations between the regions, which are blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter what of course, the manufacturer, what do you expect the manufacturer to say? This is money. This is millions, maybe tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars are going to go down the toilet if they keep quiet. Of course, they have to say something. Anyways, the company in February also disputed an earlier study by the same team of researchers, which suggested that molnupiravir, whatever it's called, is giving rise to new mutations of the virus in some patients. And it says the spokesman for Merck didn't believe that his drug was likely to contribute to COVID mutations. He doesn't believe it. It's like faith. It's a religion. And of course, he has to say that because he cannot say, this is the proof. Of course, I don't believe, I don't feel like it actually does. That's the scientific mind of today's world. Again, here you go, some pushing the fear mongering for stupid idiots who would believe such a thing. Because anybody who has half a brain would have realized over the last 3 years that no matter how many drugs were pumped into people, these same people got the same disease over and over and over again. So, and for people like me who have never taken it, I think I maybe coughed for a few days, and that was that. The new study comes as COVID once again gains a stronger foothold in the US, primarily driven by newer strains of the virus. While they fail to say that these new variants are so weak, they are so nothing, that they cause a mild cold symptoms, runny nose, bit of a sore throat, maybe watery eyes. That's it. For the most part, again, watch Dr. John Campbell for the latest and greatest news on these things. So again, but of course, relying on the stupidity of most people, the laziness of most people, and that most people are sheep. They will read that line because remember, this is CNBC is a financial website. It's a financial TV station. They want to sell drugs. They want to make money. So of course, they have to hype the fear. So the new variants are actually like a mild cold. But the US and other countries appear to be relying less on this drug to fend off COVID this year. Sales of the drug dropped to around $200 million during Merck's third quarter. So $200 million, they dropped to around $200 million, down 83% from the more than $1 billion reported during the same period a year ago. So they sold $1 billion worth of that useless drug, which creates mutations and transmissible variants of the virus amongst people. They made $1 billion. So what do you expect the company to say about their money machine? Of course, I don't believe it causes more transmissible. I don't believe it. It causes variants in the COVID. Of course, what else are they going to say? And all these studies, which the FDA and the rest of them evaluate, are actually based on the studies submitted by the manufacturer of the drug. Here, FDA, here's my drug. Oh, can you show us your studies? Oh, here are studies. Oh, safe and effective, I guess. Yeah, safe and effective. Approved. Approved. Merck's molnupiravir has long been controversial because of its ability to cause genetic mutations. And I've said before, the actual uh, inoculations, so called, have been accused of the exact same thing because it blocks one strain and it forces the virus to develop a variant. That was actually said, I think, believe on the CNN, and I have the article, and I spent like half an hour yesterday trying to find it on my old Facebook posts for like from 2 years ago. Then I said, you know what? That's enough of that. I don't care. People want to believe it, believe it. They don't want to believe it, don't believe it. I don't care. And actually, in one of the articles, it wasn't the one I was searching for, but it was talking about the newest, not the newest, the one already extinct, the XBB 1.15, whatever it's called. That it first started was in Singapore, and Singapore was the highest uh, vaccinated country on the planet. And this variant started and spread very fast in Singapore, which obviously means these so called vaccines trigger mutations, trigger variants. So, of course, keep on getting your vaccine every year. No, mommy, every 6 months, sorry, every 3 months, because maybe every 2 months, because then it's already, you know, ineffective completely. Plus, there's a new variant, so you should have one every 2 months. You know, get your COVID shot every 2 months to be safe against the sniffles and the runny nose. Okay, uh, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, the bought and paid for agency, first approved the drug because for emergency use in late 2021. And as I said in a previous video, emergency use authorization is basically a quickie authorization with none of the regular um, proofs and study and testing required for a real drug. Same thing actually for the latest COVID shots, for the latest already extinct variant. It was approved, which was tested on 10 mice, I believe. It was approved under emergency use authorization. Emergency, because, you can tell people are just dropping dead in the streets from this, runny nose. They're just dropping dead. So we have to have it in emergency. So we have the emergency use authorization for the latest shot. Same thing, they gave this the FDA emergency use, which means we're not going to test it. We're going to take your word for it. Whatever. Just let people take it. It's an emergency after all. But the FDA recommends against using this drug like Rio during pregnancy, unless, of course, the mRNA poison so-called uh, thing, because non-clinical studies suggest that it may cause fetal harm. Are they caring for little babies? Molnupiravir also isn't authorized for use in patients under 18 because it may affect bone and cartilage growth. Wow, isn't that special? Wow, science in action. Science. Science. So a lot of these people need to really be put in jail for what they have done in the last 3 years, from the lies they spread, from the poison they had injected into billions of people who are suffering from its consequences. Young men, not young, not old, getting strokes, getting heart attacks, and a whole bunch of other things because they were scared witless into taking something which it was known from the beginning was never going to work, because there has never ever been a vaccine against a coronavirus or against any coronavirus. Anyways, that's it. That's all. That's the latest on the, well, latest and greatest. Well, this is just kind of a, I don't dwell on this anymore. You want to go poison yourself, go ahead. Sorry, YouTube, I didn't mean to say that. You want to go take a good medication for your health because the FDA approved it and the government said to take it. Of course, you have to take that because they will never lie to you and there is no money incentive for them to lie to you. Of course, you take it, keep your health in good shape, and follow the directives of the World Health Organizations and the directives or of your local health authorities because, of course, they know best because they are the smart ones and we're the stupid ones. All right, that's it. That's all. Hope you like this video. Please like, subscribe, and share, and put the little ring bell button, and I'll see you next time. Maybe something more about the Catholic faith or the Catholic Church or what's going on around us, or a book review. We'll see next time. Bye bye.